Hey everyone, it's me, Ray Long. This is another episode of Full Stack Distributed Systems. Alright, it's nighttime here at the Wizard Tower in downtown LA near LA Live. Kind of slouched over, relaxing. Last time we added some events to our system, to our up and coming wargaming engine here. We've got combat resolution. Everything's going well. We have models fighting each other in our system. We don't have much of a visual representation yet, but we'll get there soon enough, you know. For now, it's important that all of the mechanics under the hood work, and then we can make it as pretty as we want to. You know, we'll collaborate with someone who knows their shit when it comes to making games look awesome, and we'll get that person involved, and I'll commission some assets. They'll make them. I'll incorporate them into the video. They'll get work and exposure, and you'll get to see them in the engine, and we'll put it in the engine in the asset store when we're all done. So it's a win-win for everybody. Since we last spoke, I've made some enhancements along the same veins, done a little bit of refactoring and some enhancements along the same vein as what we started with, or rather, what we ended with last time, which we're starting with today. So let's get into Visual Studio. I've already completed the resurrection protocols for Visual Studio in Unity, and VLC, and OBS, and Windows, and Chrome, and Explorer before starting the video, so we should be good. So you should be seeing OBS, you should be seeing Visual Studio. Very good. Now, let's take a look at our base character. So I've added a death sequence. On model death event, past new model death event arcs, the name. For now, I'm experimenting with passing in the whole game object, and it turns out, of course you can do this, it'll serialize it. Or I don't know if it'll serialize it, but it'll at least pass the reference. So that's what I need to determine. I need to determine if it passes the reference, or if it passes a copy. I need to look under the hood in the Microsoft Developer Network documentation. Because if it passes a reference, that's dangerous as hell. If it passes a copy, that's very useful. Because then I can do things like, okay, the event triggers with the game object, right? There's a copy of it sent to the event receiver. Now the game object in the scene might be destroyed, but the event receiver has a copy of the game object. It can do things like log its position, add it to a different collection, add it to a final score at the end that's running, or calculate some kind of bonus metric, or maybe trigger some kind of like loot dropping event, because you actually want the loot drop thing to be handled by a whole loot drop handling system, or whatever you want to do, infinite possibilities. So yeah, you do get the whole game object, so it's kind of crazy. We'll experiment more with that. See, it's probably a bad idea. I mean, I'm going to put it out there right now. Let's not have any fucking illusions. This is probably a really bad idea. Okay, because probably what I assume is going to happen is it's passing a reference to this game object. And having different things have access to it in a non-thread safe way. I don't know if it's thread safe. There's too many unknowns. But we should pass this message. So, we're going to pass in a message that's called the death message. And this is just a little bit of flavored text that's going to go into the logs, or wherever we want to display it. As for our base character, our default is their organs splatter across the battlefield in a buffet of... I should say a buffet of guts. Arterial spray. There we go. Some fucking poetry right there. Let's take a look at our scout. First thing I did, I took the death sequence check out of update, because that was stupid, and I put it in damage sequence, which is smart. Let's go into death sequence. Death sequence, now we're firing off the on model death event. Let's go back to here and just let's figure it out here. Oh, here we go. Attempting to invoke model death event. Subscribers firing, invoked. There we go. That should fire off just fine. Okay. Let's go over to Unity. Let's run this code in our scene. And let's see it in action. So remember, on the left side, on left melee and shoot button, it has a grunt attached to it. The right melee and shoot button has a scout attached to it. Okay, so let's clear the logs. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, good. Okay, let's do some shooting. All the things that we were looking at in our classes we see. Let's watch the scout's wounds, right? Oh, we should click the actual button. It seems to hit, frequently enough, So it seems like the D20 mechanic is, seems to be working out pretty decently so far. I mean, I'm sure we're going to break it. We're going to push it to its limits. When the modifiers get huge, at some point in time, we're going to have like 2D20, 3D20, shit like that. Especially if we scale the game up to like 6,000 points. And these two models are 2 points each, Alright. So, there's one wound. Bam. Check that out. Scout has been butchered. In a bloody end befitting their life, the scout dies and rots alone in the wilderness of forgetfulness. A little dramatic, but I like it. But since we don't know if it's dead or alive, we're going to allow this to shoot the grunt. We're going to see the grunt die. Let's watch the grunt. It's 3, 2, and that scout, just like I thought on paper, is pretty good with the shooting. Alright. Grunt has been assassinated. Little more than a walking meat shield in life, they share the same fate in death, except now they're also a toilet. Alright, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going for absolute grim dank. Alright, I don't give a shit. In case you can't tell, I'm basically trying to make my own better version of one of my favorite war games. Not necessarily a better version of it, something inspired by it, no doubt. Just as it was inspired by countless other things. But one of the things that I like about it the most is its grim dank, its grim dark aesthetic. I'm just trying to put my own slightly juvenile spin on the grim dark aesthetic. You just think about it, being a grunt in like the Immortal Empire. So I'm calling it the Immortal Empire for right now, just as a placeholder. But think about it. Oh man, you're just basically a meat shield with feet, and in death, it can be a barricade for other walking meat shields, or somebody gets shit in your helmet. How's that for grimdark, Anyway, so we have grunts and scouts. What are they? Really, they're privates in the command hierarchy of the default army of our war engine, okay? And patrons, and only patrons forever, are going to have access to the system design notes up on Patreon. Patreon link is down below. Go check it out. Just $1 a month, you can get the system design notes, and they're extensive. Okay, they're not, they're all really tightly focused. They're well thought out. And right now they're on. Let's see, what page am I on? Oh, I've got 9.5 pages of system design notes, almost done. So basically, has all the rules that we're implementing in our game engine, and you'll be able to see where we're at now. You'll also be able to see ahead what kind of units are coming down the pipeline. If you already had access to the design notes from Patreon, then you would know the units we're going to be doing next, which are going to be very interesting. I'll give you a hint. There's another Marine and there's another Scout. So, there we go. But while these two are privates, the next rank is going to be a specialist. So, since we're going to introduce specialists into our game now, and we already have, we don't need to add another package yet, but soon if we get a lot of ranks, we're going to need to reorganize our namespaces in our project. But for now, let's slide back over to Visual Studio for a moment. Let's think about how we're going to model our command hierarchy. So I've actually thought about this quite a bit. By that I mean for at least 10 minutes. And I think we're going to do, well, I don't just think, I know for certain we're going to do an enum. So, for the simple reason that you can store them as integers and, you know, cast them back to the enum. So they're very lightweight to transport around and, you know, attach meaning to. And there's supposed to be a default enum in here. What the hell is it? Probably before the F's. No, it's okay. Let's do class. We'll call it, of course it has the wrong namespace. So I hope you guys can see what I see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me grab this. Okay, we're gonna make this enum, not class 1, we're gonna call this command hierarchy, and this is gonna be fun. Command hierarchy, let's call it enum. I've always, I've been in the habit of calling enums for a long time, and not about to stop now. Alright. Do we want to start counting at 0? Yeah. 0 is not befitting a military rank, so civilian 0. Private. Now, civilian could be like an NPC. It could be an object. It could be basically anything we don't give a shit about. It's life or death. Honestly, unless there's like a role-playing reason why. You know, this is a war game for total death and annihilation. We don't give a shit about NPCs like civilians unless we have to, or unless those civilians are important. You know. That's just the tone of the game. Alright, so we have private. Next we have specialists. Specialists. Don't think I need, yeah, I don't need to put these in here because we're not doing anything special with them. It's redundant. So you know, we may as well just do the whole hierarchy now. Specialist. Then we have sergeant. Let's see. After sergeant, we have second lieutenant. I spell lieutenant right. Alright. Now we have what I can't have. Oh, come on. First lieutenant. You know what? I don't like doing it this way. That's a bad compromise. Let's just spell it out. Who cares? Right? More human friendly that way anyway. We have the captain. Major. Now I basically took this more or less from the United States Army. Because I was like, well, and then there's the 1-star general, 2-star general. 3-star general, because we could just attach this to a, like we can make a pair, and we could say like, you know, 3-star general has this attached prefab, this prefab attached to it, which is like, you know, a better way to look at it, or like a better representation on the screen than saying 3-star general and a camel case, you know. Anyway, we have a 4-star general, right? And then we have a 5-star general. And then we have Supreme Command. And this player. No rank at all. Meat shields. Oh yeah, let's not be creepy. Let's add a smiley face. Wouldn't want to be creepy. Wouldn't want that. Okay. You know what we could do? Could we do in a namespace? This would be weird. This is gonna be really weird. Public. Static. You gotta do a class. Okay. Oh, okay. Actually, let's do this. Let's do public static class. Command hierarchy util. And we can pull this out into its own file in a little bit. What? Oh, okay, it's fine. He's like, come on, man. We got a dictionary. We'll get back into C# land, of course. Let's call this command hierarchy enum and an integer. And we're going to call this model points by rank. Can't spell. Equals new. Need to make a new dictionary. Is less. Okay. Let's make this a little more accessible. Alright, there we go. So now we can actually do like a literal for this. Now we can do civilians are no points. Like, they don't get to have any points. Privates are 2 points. Specialists are... How much are specialists? Ooh. Well, that is very interesting. Spoiler alert. They are different depending upon the branch. Yeah. So, the scouts tend to skew a little higher. But that's because... Yeah. They tend to be better at shooting. So if they tend to be better at shooting and speed, then I should probably make the marine type guys a little more better at melee and armor. I mean, I got the armor down now, but I should probably, if the scouts are gonna have speed and shooting, the combat guys should probably be more hand-to-hand combat. So they should probably favor. So the guys with the small armor, the lightweight, fast-moving, shooty guys, they can have battlefield control by quickly moving to flank this or that, but ground troops, the shock troops, the death squads, they have better overall stats, it's just better overall general well-rounded ground forces, you know. They're not particularly fast, but they're not slow. They tend to be a little armor heavy. Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, balancing a game is like super goddamn hard. You know, people struggle for years to do it, so. But so far in our simulator, you know, it seems like the current D20 thing that we got going on seems to be okay. So, since we have different points for different ranks, we're going to do something different. We're going to take this. What's this? Oh, just a slow editor. Okay. Don't need this. It's just no dependencies. It's really clean code. It's straightforward. You know exactly what it is. We'll say typically there's 0 points for now. Mobile command unit. Doing some research on the mobile command unit. Not about the unit, but doing more work fleshing out the system, some of the rules. I've already spent some of the juice. We got 42 minutes remaining on the mobile command unit. I've only been recording for 24 minutes. So, that means give about another half hour of recording done. Then we'll save our work, get it uploaded, ready to go. Haven't had a cough in a while. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Just looking at the notes that are available to patrons, as I mentioned. And see, now that we have units, we can actually do something interesting. We can have formations or detachments, right? So, is that really a character thing, or do we think detachments should be their own namespace? I think detachments should be their own namespace, personally. And the thing is, in between namespace, even in between namespace barriers, like the difference between command hierarchy and events and combat and dice and util, communicating between those, I should have, things. If something in command hierarchy communicates with combat or dice, ideally it should be through dice. Ideally, it should be through IDiceRoller. Me, alright, IDiceRoller. Can't help but do a bad dice. Who doesn't love doing a bad dice? The pull is irresistible. Alright. So we're doing all that wonderful stuff. Let's not get too... Okay, we're going to do detachments. So I think detachment should be its own motherfucker. Let's go back into Unity. This is some weird-ass music, by the way. Weird-ass music engaged. Let's go into the project. Oh, no. Unity might need new resurrection protocols. Oh, no, maybe not. Touch and go here, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so we're in scripts. Let's do detachments. Yeah, detachments is definitely... Look, I mean, it just makes sense, you know. You see it on there on the screen. Detachment. Good thing a certain game company can't, trademark the word detachment. It's a cool military wargaming term, so we're going to use it. Fuck them. Fuck them. Switch back into Visual Studio. I forgot to save my project. I gotta save that now. Which also means I got the enum in the project, but I don't have the new folder. So let's go into go behind the scenes real quick. I'm gonna make a script in here, of course. I'm gonna call this IDetachment. Definitely gonna reload. Reload the solution real quick. Project at the very least, and we should have detachment, IDetachment. Okay, so character and detachment are on the same level. So let's take this, because we know we're going to need to go into IDetachment. Since we copied it from the template, and we're going to have to add a namespace to the motherfucker. Sorry about that. Should hopefully be the last cough. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. basically, hopefully the idea is the interface, using interface should be pretty obvious by now, but we'll try to make better use of them. So basically, an interface just describes a contract, and a class has to implement them. But you can also accept them as parameters, so you don't care. So you can have your code decoupled. You don't care what kind of implementation of IDetachment you get, because we're going to have lots of IDetachments, right? We're going to have a few of them. I want to copy this file and paste it, rename it something cool. And what I name it is going to be, we're going to call it our demolition cell. Oh yeah. We're going to add a folder. We're going to call the folder I was thinking of putting, since the detachments all have mixed ranks, it doesn't make sense to have them sorted by rank. Yeah, get rid of Prav. We don't need Prav. There's a different way to... Now we have a type of attachment called a cell. We have two cells. We have a demolition cell for our a marine and a grunt. Oh, we don't have marines yet. We'll introduce marines. And then we have a reconnaissance or a recon cell that has 2 scouts and a ranger. What's a ranger? Oh, we'll introduce rangers today too. Isn't that exciting, ladies and gentlemen? At the very least, we should be able to add those, because we basically just have to clone grunt, update the stat line and the flavor. Same thing for scout. Should be no big deal. Currently I have 21 minutes left of mobile command units, so we're going to keep rocking and rolling. In our cell, let's add a class. Like I said, we're going to call it the demolition cell. Visual Studio is not responding. Alright. Actually, don't want to do it that way anyway. We're sneaking into Unity behind the scenes and adding the file. At least I thought I was. Man, I may need to run resurrection protocols across the board here. Well, you may as well look at what I'm looking at. Oh no. Everything dying again? That would not be cool. Oh. Somehow Unity is still loading the code. Alright, let's go back to Visual Studio. Okay. What do we need in our detachment? Well, we already have a name. We'll get that from the game object. We're going to need total points. This is important. We want this to be a private setter. What else do we want? Well, we need some kind of import the iBase character. Wow. Mobile command unit is going super slow, ladies and gentlemen. Good thing I know the using, or the namespace rather. Just the life in the day of. I know how to do it. Oh, I lied. There was another one. Need models. Oh, total point should be capitalized. What am I thinking here? Okay. We want an event. Very good question. We probably want. There are probably detachment specific events that we have. We don't want model death handler. It's not what we want. I just copied this over from somewhere else, obviously. I don't know. What do you think about putting your delegates next to your interfaces? I think it's fine as long as that's where the event is defined. You know, the most abstract. If that's the most abstract place that it's defined, I think it's fine. You know, if like the event is defined at the interface level, then having the delegates next to the interface in the namespace is fine with me. We're gonna call this detachment model add event handler. We only really want one detachment event args class. And you know what? We'll put it right here for now too, because I just want to look at it. We can move it out to its own file later. We need to use the system namespace here. Probably what? Oh no. It should be system. Wow, Visual Studio is super slow right now, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. You know what we need? Models. Is that really what we want? Probably not. Although passing around, I don't know. That doesn't seem like the thing that we really want to be passing around. You know, for now, let's just keep it very simple. Let's call it message. Let's give it a string, and we'll just call it message. And we'll say there's a detachment event args. Oh. It'll take this constructor. We'll simply say that this dot message equals message from the constructor. All right, there we go. Take a look at base character, see how that event was defined, just because I need a reminder. Oh yeah, of course. So now we just simply go back to IDetachment. We have models. Now we can have one more time. Event, name of the handler, name of the field. Okay, event, name of the handler, which is detachment model. Probably give it a name that ends with event, right? Yeah, alright. So then we'll call it model add event. Cool. Fantastic. We have 11 minutes remaining. Alright, so basically here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up right now because the battery is quickly dying. Oh yeah, things are getting real dicey, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so we're not going to tempt fate. So basically we're going to define an interface for our detachment, and our detachment is going to have a collection different models and units on it. That's what's going to happen. So we've updated our event handling a bit. We're going to start using events, not in every situation, but where it calls for things. And again, our events are simply a pub sub model, simply a pub sub subscribe model. So okay, all right, guys, battery's dying. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.